first thing we're gonna start off is with a plain, and this is gonna be our mesh basically. The texture is where the magic happens. It's where you're gonna see the lash actually show up, but this is where it's going to show up on. So basically I just rotated it with R and sized it with S. So I just made it small and made it close to that mesh head. This is just a random mesh head I just got online. It's not the Second Life one, but it's a head, and it helps me keep track of how an eye is shaped. So you don't have to use one, it's just my preference. But now I'm gonna create a loop cut right there. That's what I created right there, and I just dragged it down. So I'm always just like lining it up, just keep lining it up. Then I grabbed the end vertices, and then I pressed E and I extruded them out. You could press G to grab them, or you could press the arrow to move them around. And then I'm just moving it along the eye, making sure that it's connected and it lines up with an actual eyelid. So once you get it how you want it, it's not going to be like perfectly smooth. So I'm gonna add a subdivision modifier, and I'm going to just up it by 2, because we always want to keep a low poly for Second Life. I mean, you can do a high poly for Second Life, but for lashes you really don't need to, because the magic's on the texture. Unless you're individually creating each little lash, then that would be more difficult and more time consuming, but I mean, it's possible. So once you get it how you want it, Then now we're going into the UV editor. I have to drag that down right there so I don't have to open up the UV editor. But I'm just selecting the vertices around the eyelash mask. That's what I'm going to call it. And then I'm pressing U and pressing mark seam. And then after you press U to unwrap it. So that's basically the UV where it's going to line up to your texture. Now I create a material for it where I'm going to add the texture in. Now I'm just going to apply the subdivision, so I added more vertices because it's a higher mesh than it was before now, which is fine. Just don't unwrap it again because then you would have to do the topology again. Which, unless you want to do that, then you can't, but you press Shift A and open the image texture. And we're going to connect the alpha node to the other alpha little dot down there, and then this is where I'm going to put in the lash texture. So now it's in there, but now it needs to be enabled. So go to settings and go to alpha blend, and you could press alpha hashed right there, and this is the base color. But regardless, it's going to look how the texture looks in world like that. It's going to be like black regardless. So now I'm just going to press Shift and actually Control and mirror, I believe. And I'm going to mirror the UV only. I'm not mirroring the mesh, I'm mirroring the UV. And then you can go ahead and size it to the UV how you want it. It's going to show up on there. So once you get it how you want it, I'm going to add a solidifier so that you can see it from both sides and not just from the front, but you can also see it when you look from the side of my head or this, the back. You can be able to see it. So I unwrapped it here, but you really shouldn't unwrap it because then you're going to have to redo the retopology. But yeah, so I just pressed Control Z to go back, or Shift C to go back. And then I'm just going to Shift and press D to duplicate it, and then Control M to mirror it to the x-axis. Yeah, and if it's not mirrored right, you just could press Control mirror, make sure it's mirrored right. And then to check the faces, if it's properly right, you just press face orientations. If it's red, then that means it will be invisible. So once you're done with your mesh, you're gonna export it out as a DAE file. You don't have to join them, but I did. But I prefer not to for you guys because it'll be harder to edit them. You're gonna upload it. I joined mines together. You don't have to. And then you upload it. See, not on your right hand, sorry. Not on your right hand. You upload it to your skull, sorry, and then you make it very small. It just depends on how you want it. I clearly didn't make it to a Second Life head, but you don't necessarily have to, as long as it, you know, you make your eyelashes and stuff. But I uploaded my texture here. It's this one right here, and this is basically what it ends up looking like. Yes, they are mesh lashes still. They're meshed, but they're lashes. I'm not gonna lie, they're kind of cute. But yeah, finding a transparent texture helps the most, or being able to create your own transparent texture. But if you want me to show like as each strand one by one, I can do that as well. This is the easiest way to make eyelashes, and a lot of people do make it this way. This is kind of how you achieve that mink look the most. I feel like this is the easiest way to achieve that mink look. But yeah, see this way, like it's better to not link them, because now I can't like edit them well separately. But yeah, just keep that in mind. But yeah, it only takes like 20 to 30 hours to create your lashes. Well, one pair of lashes at least. And if you don't want to use, you could always use your local mesh, you could always use your local textures and stuff. But it's basically how you make lashes.
Show you what your future is. We could drive straight to the beach, put your feet on my dashboard.